Recently, I've been involved in a lot of conversations online surrounding the word accountable and what does it mean to be accountable and can you hold somebody accountable? So today I'm going to go down that road. So make sure you sit back, pay attention and take notes. The truth does not require you to like nor accept it. It can be tough and uncomfortable, existing on its own merit, independent of your feelings and residing outside the frameworks of your mind. For some, the truth is freedom, and to others, confinement. Accountable, according to the Oxford Languages, of a person, organization, or institution required or expected to justify actions or decisions. Responsible. All right. Explicable, understandable. Now we're going to go here. This is the AI overview. Held accountable means requiring a person or entity to be responsible for their actions, decisions, or performance and to accept the consequences, often including explaining their behavior, taking blame, or facing disciplinary actions. It involves ensuring someone answers for their conduct and is held to agreed upon standards. We're going to pay attention to agreed upon, and then we're going to come back to that. Merriam-Webster. Accountable, subject to giving an account, capable of being explained. We're going to go here. Cambridge. All right. To hold someone accountable for something is to make someone responsible for what they do and demand a satisfactory reason for it. All right. Vocabulary.com. Accountable. If you're responsible for your own actions, you are accountable for them. Just like you are accountable for your behavior in school. Right. They gave an example, but I'm not going to go down that road. Accountable, another dictionary, subject to the obligation to report, explain, or justify something. Responsible, answerable, capable of being explained, explicable, explainable, and accountable to another source. Someone who is accountable is completely responsible for what they do and must be able to give satisfactory reason for it. Now, the reason that I wanted to preface this conversation with all those definitions is so that you can understand that in order to hold somebody accountable, it means you make them give an account for their actions. Now, what you technically can't do is make someone take responsibility for their actions, but you can hold them accountable for failing to be responsible or failing at their responsibilities. But technically, you can't make them take responsibility. So that's what accountability means. Now, you look at the root word again, it means to account, to give an account. We live in a society where people keep saying and believing you can't hold somebody accountable. Yes, you can, whether they like it or not. When you're caught speeding or breaking the law and you get a ticket, citation, or you get arrested, you're going to be held accountable for your actions. You go to court. What happens when you go to court? You have to give an account for what you did. They don't ask you, do you agree with what you did? They don't ask you, do you feel bad about what you did? They don't ask you, do you agree that it should be wrong? They say, hey, give an account to your actions. Why did you do this? Did you do this or did you not do it? If you did do it, why? If you didn't do it, you're going to have to explain thoroughly. Like, it's going to have to be proven, like, how did you not do it? Especially if you know, depending on the evidence or whatnot. But you get what I'm saying. You look at elected officials. If they say they're going to do something and they don't do it, we have to hold them accountable. If they say they're not going to do something and they do it, we have to hold them accountable. In relationships, we hold people accountable all the time. In society, we hold people accountable. You might not understand it, but technically, when you ask someone, why did they do something? You're holding them accountable. At that moment that you say, why did you do that? You're holding them accountable. When someone does something and you call it out and you say, hey, that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. You're holding them accountable. You're holding them accountable. When you make them aware that whatever they're doing is not right, you are holding them accountable for that action. You understand? You are holding them accountable for that action. The minute you begin to call it out, you're making them aware. And then normally is there, you want an explanation, right? Now, there are times and situations, of course, let's say you go into a restaurant When you walk into a restaurant, whether you know the rules or not, you are silently agreeing to abide by their rules. Now, if you break a rule within reason, they should make you aware, just in case you don't know. They should say, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but we can't do that here. Once they tell you that and you stay at that restaurant, you have agreed to abide by the rule. If you break the rule, you will be held accountable. Sometimes we hold people accountable, not through questioning, but through actions, consequences. Hey, you broke the rule. I told you what the rule was. Now you're going to have to get out. Now you're going to have to get out. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes holding people accountable doesn't mean asking for an explanation. It just means carrying through with whatever the required consequence is for that action. My kids, they break a rule. I hold them accountable. I hold them accountable. Plain and simple. At my job, if I do something I'm not supposed to do, they hold me accountable. They might ask me, why did I do it? They might not. They might not. If I get caught stealing, they're not going to ask me, why was I stealing? They're just going to fire me. Plain and simple. They're holding me accountable to my actions because I should know, and it's understood that I should not be stealing from the workplace. But if you have this thought process in society that we can't hold each other accountable and that only a person can hold themselves accountable, then why do we have conversations? Why do we point things out? Why do we ask people questions? Why do we shame people? Why do we blame people? When you shame, when you blame, when you point something out that they're doing wrong, when you ask them why, like I said, you are holding them accountable. So we have to get in the mind frame of, now I can hold myself accountable. Yes, there are times when I hold myself accountable to my own morals and principles that other people may not be aware of. So I have made an agreement within myself and I failed my own expectations. So I hold myself accountable. But when other people, especially when they say something, how can you not hold someone accountable to their own words? Sometimes you have to, because they're not holding themselves accountable to their own words. The thing is, if we do not have people in society to hold other people accountable. Now, I'm not saying you can hold everybody accountable. For me, that includes, politicians, my managers at work, my close friends and family, the people in my circle. If I have a professional relationship with you, I'm going to hold you accountable to your actions, because that's a reflection of me also. I'm guilty by association. So I'm saying, hey man, why did you do that? If you're my friend, like one of my brothers, and you step out of line, I'm going to say, hey, why you do that, bro? Why? Because that's my responsibility as a friend. It is my responsibility as a civilian to hold law enforcement and politicians responsible. It is my responsibility as a father to hold my kids accountable. It's my responsibility as a friend to hold my friends accountable when they fail at something or they do something, especially because sometimes people do things and they aren't even aware that what they did was wrong or how it impacted. And so you have to bring it up, and then they realize, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. You're right. That's them taking accountability. That's them taking responsibility by giving an account for their actions, or responsibility by being accountable for their actions. But you understand what I'm saying? So that's something that we need to recognize the differences in. Yes, you can hold people accountable. Yes, you should hold people accountable. Am I saying that you can hold everybody accountable for everything? No. But if we each hold the people closest to us accountable, and in our network accountable, and if we each hold the people above us at work or political leaders or whatever accountable, then as a society, we can progress in a more positive direction, at least hopefully. But if we have this belief that no one can hold anybody accountable except themselves, then we will have a society of people that do what they want. And there's no need to have laws or rules or regulations or anything. There's no need to get mad if somebody lies or if somebody misrepresents themselves or whatever else. It's just like, oh, well, you walk around waiting for somebody to take accountability for their actions that don't feel bad about their actions. You are asking for yourself to repeatedly get hurt. So yes, we should take accountability. We should hold people accountable, and we should most definitely make sure that we aren't spreading bad rhetoric around what it means to be accountable and accountability.